Uh, I guess, man, it's like I was saying earlier, you know, a lot of people wanna jump into a lot of things in life, and everybody has a story to tell. And just kind of like with me, you know, lately I've been getting little things about ego. He's in himself. He's this. He's that. And I kind of understood a lot that where a lot of hate, and I would say not hatred towards me, but unsuccessful hate has come towards me because of now me climbing up and becoming successful in life.
Right.
And a lot of people don't know really the story that I went through to get through where I got now, which everybody has a story. First, I'll start off. There's a difference between me. There's Burshaud and there's Shad.
Yeah.
Burshaud is, of course, the name my mother gave me at birth. Shad was created when I was in the 5th grade with one of my homeboys, older guy named Clarence Crawford. We call him CC.
Okay.
We was out on the basketball court, and you know, we out there just hooping, Lawton, Oklahoma. And you know, everybody just kind of like, well, he just walked up and said, "Man, we're gonna give you nickname Shad." So that's kind of where, you know, nickname Shad came from. It kind of stuck since the 5th grade all the way up. You know, so I kind of run with that crowd that was always older than me on the basketball court. You know, just kind of hung out with those guys. Those guys really took care of me. I mean, I'll name some names. You got one, Robert Peterson, man, a big mentor of mine. You know, just real cool. I know the things that he's been through. Of course, you got CC, you got Bam, you got Jerome, you got Eric Flowers, you got one guy, Hakeem, you know, rest in peace to him. You got Rod Spikes. I mean, you got Andreas, which we call Dre Day. You know, he passed away years back. You got his brother DJ. I mean, just those guys that, man, just kind of really took care of me as a kid growing up. You know, I ran around on the courts with them, you know, and just hung out. But a lot of people don't realize, and what they don't know about me was, I wasn't always this person that carried himself strong, that walked tall, that had a lot of confidence. Growing up, I had a lot of situations where I was nitpicked with, you know, I would say bullying, I guess.
All right.
Because my parents were fortunate. They worked hard. They provided for me and my brother. And as a kid coming up, you know, I got picked with a lot. You know, I got things stolen from me. You know, I knew the people who stole it from me at school.
Yeah.
You know, different things like that. You know, I wasn't the most talented kid. I used to be that kid that was the one that was picked last in sports, picked last in basketball, get on the court. I just worked hard and just kind of kept myself around the sport and kept myself around the people. So I'm very big now on bullying, you know, just like, you know, how you present yourself, how you talk to people in the public, or just any work environment, just anything in life. So as I came up as a kid, man, you know, like I said, my parents were very fortunate. They worked hard, you know, nothing was handed to us. They worked, they provided for us.
Right.
But I got nitpicked with that because, you know, I wore the nice clothes, I wore the nice shoes, or he's spoiled, he's this. I mean, I tell people now, it wasn't my fault that my parents chose to go to work.
Right.
As I got older, you know, I kind of got placed in positions where I hung out with the crowd that was out there, you know, but I was still that kind of dude that sat in the back, you know what I'm saying? But I just hung out with those dudes, you know, I really respected them, enjoyed their company. They took care of me, like I said before. But I guess what I'm trying to say is I wasn't as confident as I am now, you know, and I realized that as a kid that I didn't really have too much, I had self-love, but I just wasn't really out there. I wasn't a strong person.
Right.
I kind of was like that little tag along and just kind of see how things went.
Right.
You know, I got in trouble. I ran with some of the crowds where we got in trouble, got out of trouble.
Okay.
You know, I had some real homeboys that kind of kept me out of the trouble when things kind of hit the fan. You know, we were all honest about situations and stuff like that. I guess what I can say, man, is when life really hit me, man, is my freshman year in college, man. I went to Eastern Oklahoma State. I kind of got, you know, had a little recruitment there. I kind of followed my best friend, Cal Warner. I mean, it's a tough situation. This dude went from, you know, not having the best of life growing up, and then, you know, our first year in college, you know, we played. He was a dog, I was a dog. You know, that's kind of really where I found myself. You know, a lot around the older players that were above me, sophomores, as we were freshmen. And man, you know, he passed away on the court. He died in front of me. One of the guys, I was one of the ones that kind of finally was the last person finally kind of seen him. You know, and of course a lot of people had a lot of questions when we were coming back, getting ready for his funeral, things of that sort, his mother, you know, just everybody. And my faith, man, I questioned God for a while. You know, I didn't understand why somebody like him who didn't smoke weed, who didn't drink, didn't go out and party. I was always partying, you know, drinking, you know, smoking. I'm not afraid to pretty much tell the truth. You know, I did those things in college. And here's a guy that was going to class every day, Dean's List honor roll, you know, things of that sort, working hard on the court. You know, I was working hard on the court, but I was also enjoying life. You know, he was enjoying life a different way. And then, you know, things changed, you know, on April 4th. You know, he collapsed on the court. They announced him dead when he got to the hospital. But what I couldn't understand is why somebody of that caliber was taken so early and soon in their life. You know, he was about, what, 21. And I look back and I'm like, here I am doing all these different things, you know what I'm saying, that I should be gone first, you know, that can possibly lead me in that path.
Yeah.
And after that whole situation, man, you know, I kind of woke up, and my work ethic came from his spirit. I kind of took his work ethic. He was known as a dog. He didn't care, never cared about his haircut, nothing that sort, clothes, anything like that. I was that kid that cared about that stuff because I had it.
Yeah.
And losing him, man, was a big change in my life. I pretty much told myself I took his spirit, took his work ethic, his dog, placed it within me, and man, I just kind of started just really diving in and just really working hard, you know, on the court, doing things like that. Man, just became a dog, man. You know, just really worked hard, you know, just really went at things. And that was something hard that I dealt with, man, for like some years, like just because I couldn't understand why God would take somebody like that, you know, and allow us who do so much wrong and this and that to continue on living the life that we live. Right. And you know, those years went by, different situations happened, you know, to where they led me up into Houston, Texas, where I kind of resided for 8 years. You know, was out there with friends, family, you know, still trying to find myself, still hitting my head hard on the concrete, you know, doing the ups and downs, the wrongs and things of that sort. Situation, you know, with relationships, you know, things of that sort, you know. I wouldn't really say, I didn't really find out who I was until about, you know, I'll say about 28, man. About 28 is when I really found out who I really was. You know, I kind of did some wrongs in life that I said before, you know, even some wrongs during that time that kind of hurt a lot of people around me, you know, and being very selfish. You know, some relationships in life that probably would never be mended because of some things that happen, but all you can do is just continue to, you know, hope for the best and, you know, just pray for it. You know, when I kind of really stood up as a man and accepted the wrongs that I did and didn't bring up any excuses behind it, I just kind of accepted it, you know, and that's when I kind of felt like I found myself around the age of about 28 or so. One thing I kind of left out with the childhood is I had a great childhood, but as like I say, my teenage years, man, just that fact that being messed with, you know, because I wasn't that kid that would, you know, be in the fights and doing all and this and that. One thing I kind of developed that I kind of took with me to college, man, that I kind of learned how to use was anger. I tell people now that anger is not something that is instilled in somebody. You know, anger is taught. And I say that because I always use the analogy of a puppy. You know, I've done it before. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of guys that have done it before. We get a puppy and we put a puppy on his back, and a puppy's very uncomfortable on his back. You kind of mess with it, you know, rub the stomach, they start growling. Yeah. Well, you know, you're kind of instilling anger in something at a young age that as it gets older, it doesn't know how to control it when the situation happens of being uncomfortable. Okay. And that's kind of where I kind of came about with being messed with in my teen years, things of that sort, you know. When I got to college, man, I developed some type of, I guess, anger to where I spazzed off on people. And I kind of understood that it was like a light switch. I spaz off, cut it on for a little bit. Once I'm done, cut it off. And that's why I'm very calm now to this day. I don't really, you know, act on people's emotions when they speak, you know, I guess threats, things of that sort, stuff like that. Because as a, I guess, a young adult around my 19, mid 20 years or whatnot, I was a firecracker, man. my cousins, they call me cousins at home with a little pistol starter. Because just for the simple fact that I had kind of learned I didn't want to be messed with anymore. And when I learned that, it was like, I'm not angry, I just learned how to use anger.
Okay.
You know, I learned how to use adrenaline to pretty much spaz off. You know, so kind of around that 1921 up into mid-20s, man, I was a hothead, man. Really just kind of frustrated hothead. I was a good person, but I knew how to just use it and just react. So I'm very big on when people say, you know, you're angry. To me, anger is something that is taught. You know, you can learn to control it as well and not control it. And I tell a lot of young kids nowadays, you know what I'm saying, like, I'm not afraid to let them know that, hey, man, I dealt with anger. I dealt with the bullying. I dealt with being, like, say, nitpick, you know, not being that kid that was always just out there walking around chest high, you know. I had to find myself. I had to grow into it.
Okay.
And like I said, that just kind of helped me grow as I gotten older and older. And like I said, around those mid-20s, like I said, 28, you know, that's kind of when I found myself around that 28, 30. Like I say, I kind of just stepped up, man, and just said, you know, hey, you know what? All that stuff in the past that you did wrong, you did it. You know, it's nothing you can do about it. You can't change it. But as we always say, you can change the steps that you take to go further in life. And I kind of think that's kind of what I did. You know, it was times where I didn't have all the money. I don't have all the money now. I struggle financially. My mom has found paycheck stubs from when, like I would say, early on, 30s or whatever, 28 and all that, you know, where I was barely coming home with like $118, man, like on the 2 weeks. And never called her. Never called her for help. I never forget when I wrecked a car that I had just bought from a friend. Me and my son was going out to get a Christmas tree, and I had wrecked the vehicle, didn't have money to get another car. I was doing odd jobs, you know what I'm saying, that turned into like working for people that turned into kind of like family. I mean, man, I worked at Ross in the men's department, just in between. And so I know the struggle, I know the grind. And when my mom found that check stub after they got the car back that they let me use for a while, my mom was just shocked. She was like, I didn't know. And she was like, why did you never say nothing? I said, well, you know, I had to be a man.
Right.
I had to be a man. I had to step up. I couldn't call home. I need this and need that. I was healthy. I was capable of working. So I had to work and I had to grind.
Right.
And like I say, man, I'll never forget, there's one photo that's on my social media where it's like my son is sitting in a chair and he's holding a curly fry. And he's smiling. And that picture, man, every time it pops back up on the timeline, or if I see it, it reminds me of that weekend I had $20 to my name. I went and bought, I think, 1 or 2 red box movies. I bought the little frozen bag of French fries, and I bought a 5 hot and ready pizza from Little Caesars. To why I like Little Caesars pizza still to this day. Like, man, I'll get one on Friday with no problem. But that weekend, man, that weekend right there, it showed me that money is not the rule of happiness. That he didn't know at that age that all I had was $20.
Right.
He was just excited that we had that $5 pizza, we had the red box movies, we had the French fries,
Right.
we had a good time, man. That was the biggest smile, and he's holding the French fry next to his face. And you know, it's like that weekend right there just let me know that, man, it's not always about the financial part.
Right.
The financial part brings happiness, but having joy and happiness within one another is what really brings the value of life out. And just kind of realizing, man, that just let me know, that picture right there lets me know where I've come from that to now.
Right.
And like I say, just having him, man, really made me work hard. And a lot of people look at me now and I hear the words ego, he's cocky, he's into himself. And I sit back and I listen to that stuff and I tell myself, you're right. My ego has come because I have an ego of self-love. I have an ego of confidence. A few years ago, we were presenting a scholarship in my grandmother's name that we've been doing for years out in Luling, Texas. Mm-hmm. And as I got ready to walk up on the stage, my mother looks at me, she says out of nowhere, she says, son, you have a strong walk. And she just said that, you know, and don't know why it came out, but she just told me. And at that time, she could tell that I was just proud, no matter what. She said that no matter what happens, you've always held your head high. And I'm not gonna lower my head. I'm just not, man. And like I say, my ego is not a ego of being cocky or I got this or I'm this, I'm not that. Nah, my ego comes from my story, my background that led me up to now. That it allowed me to know that I can do anything that somebody else does as long as I have self-love and confidence within myself. And it took me years and years to understand that and to learn that. And now I'm on a successful path. And I want to continue on a successful path. You know, that's how I've kind of come who I am within the basketball world. Right. It's not who I know, it's the time that I put in, you know, the hard work, you know, the networking, being somewhere when somebody wasn't offering me financial. They were asking me to come to see something. A lot of my relationships have built because somebody has asked me to come somewhere to gain a relationship, to build something. It's not always about, well, what do I get from it? You know, what am I getting paid for? And I kind of understood that because, like I said a while back, I can't die with my money. I can't take it with me. You can only inherit it on to the next person, but that next person, same way. They can't go. They can't die with it either. Right. They leave it and leave it and leave it. So it's a trail. So, man, like I said, just up until now, man, you know, I'm me. I just feel like I've come a long way. I'm not gonna stop. I'm me. I got a ladder to climb. I don't see the ladder ending just yet. Right. Like I said, man, I just really wanted to sit down and just do this, just to kind of let people know my storyline, man, because I feel like sometimes a lot of people out there know it because they've sat around and they just talk to me, but putting it out there and being honest about things, you know, being as honest about, you know, I've smoked weed, you know, I've drank, I've done different things, you know, and that's what a lot of young kids nowadays, they kind of respect me because when I do talk to them and I do mentor them, I'm not afraid to tell them what I've done wrong, because what I've done wrong is actually what's helped me now to this day to be a better person. Gotcha. And I think if more people would be upfront with talking about who they were in the past to become who they were now in the future, a lot of our young generation would be more understanding of following instead of following the negative vibes of certain things. You can have the negative vibes, but understand out those negatives there comes a positive. Right. And I feel like a lot of my negatives have brought a lot of positive, which now to why I'm big on talking to the youth and just kind of letting them know that, hey man, it's all right, I did it. You know, I did this, I did that. I'm not afraid to tell them that, you know, because I had parents that weren't afraid to tell me the wrongs that they've done. You know, I've seen the struggle with my mom and my dad, from the struggle of having lights cut off to the struggle of never ever having it cut off ever again. You know, to live in Section 8 housing to now having a beautiful home that my mother lives in now with a mortgage, you know, to where we don't need the assistance, you know. So I understand the steps of life. I understand the value of true love. Had parents, you know, that showed true love through the struggle to where they were now before my stepfather passed away. You know, so I've had the teaching moment in front of me, but like we said, we all choose what we want to do. Right. And you know, and I chose to make the steps and the wrongs and the rights that I've done, and I understand them now, man. And like I say, I just, you know, like I said, I just wanted to just talk about, you know, what I went through, you know, as a kid going up to now.
Was there like a point that that led you to strictly mentoring in the aspect of like basketball being your stable go-to day-to-day hustle?
Man, basketball, man, was just something that I kind of put myself around. I never had the dream or the goal to be a coach or some type of extreme great player. I never dreamed that. My first, I guess, talent was drawing. I was heavily artistic, drawing characters, cartoons, things of that sort. I always thought I was going to be a vet. What got me around is just somebody hearing me speak to some kids, and it kind of came from there. Somebody else hearing, I guess, being a little ear, and heard me speaking to some kids and kind of just brought me in and was like, hey, you know, have you ever thought about doing this and doing that? Basketball was just a talent that I had, that I picked up hanging around the guys that I did, that brought me to now, that put me around the young kids, you know, the male and females, you know, even our young adults to this day. Some of them didn't know I went through some of the things I've gone through until we've had a chance to sit down and talk, and now they actually can relate on some things that I've dealt with. But It wasn't a dream of mine. I tell kids now, it was never a dream of mine. Never once in my life did I ever think that I was going to be a coach or even play a competitive level of basketball.
Right.
I just did it because it was a thing to do, and that was a crowd that I hung around. And I kind of got the talent, I guess.
Okay.
You know, and like I said, I suck. I did. I mean, I won't lie about it, and that's why I tell kids now. So when I see these parents with 4, 5, so when I see like parents with, you know, got their kids out there at 6 years old, 7 years old, you know, out there doing these basketball drills, all that, I didn't do none of that. I didn't. I guess I was patient. I rode the bench. I rode the bench a lot. I remember there's times where I had to shoot for a jersey just to suit up in junior high.
Okay.
And it was always like 4 jerseys left, and I had to shoot free throws at the end of practice just to get that jersey, to sit on the bench, because we were only going to suit like maybe 10 or 11, but the other ones were just suited, you know, just being there. And I'll never forget one time my mom was in the stands. She was yelling, "Put my baby in the game." And one of my favorite coaches, Mike Turner, I'm sitting there on the bench, and I turn around and I tell my mom, I said, "Mama, shut up." You know, that's embarrassing. It really is. You know, it's embarrassing. Me knowing that I'm not that good, but my mom wants to see me on the court.
Right.
So, of course, you know, I turned around and I said that. Wasn't respectful, no, it wasn't. But it was an embarrassment moment. And after that, man, I just kind of worked hard. By my 9th grade year, man, I had the chance to play varsity ball. So as a 9th grade, I was actually, you know, playing upper level 12th grade basketball. Still wasn't that good, but I had the opportunity. And the opportunity came because I put myself in that area. Right. You know, I stayed around the gym with the older guys. I stayed around with the varsity coaches. And they gave me the opportunity. And it was a wonderful opportunity. Even when I got into actual high school, you know, I was still, you know, one of the top 7 players and whatnot. I lost my junior year because of attitude. Okay. You know, one of my coaches now, he's a great mentor of mine. I call him all the time, Adrian Wiggins. You know, he actually took over the varsity team, and my junior year, man, I copped the attitude in the office, and he told me, "Don't come back to the program." So, you know, that was a shock. The fact that, you know, you got kicked off. And I tried to transfer out to a rival high school, tried to come to San Antonio, boom, it didn't happen. So I actually sat up in the stands, you know what I'm saying, for a whole year, your most crucial year, you know, basketball career in high school. Got back on the court my senior year, and like I said, got the chance, you know, to go to junior college and play ball. Built a lot of great relationships, a lot of memories. Right. But still, never thought that I would be in this position as a coach or using basketball to mentor back. Once again, at that time, basketball was still basketball because why? I was around that crowd. Okay. And like I say, man, this is a wonderful thing, man, just to be in this position now, you know, with the level I'm at now and the level I'm continuing to trying to get to and being able to mentor kids. So,
is there, if there was like a handful of suggestions you want to give advice to keep that structure of motivation and push towards everyday grind, what would those handful of things be?
The main one I would say is self-discipline, man.
Self-discipline.
Self-discipline. Understand that you can't hang with everybody. Right. I put a post up the other day about that, and it's not against anybody in a negative way, but it's real. Sometimes you have to separate yourself to get where you need to get. Sometimes everybody can't help you get where you need to get. Sometimes the people that are in the same environment, in the same career as you're in, can't help you. Right. Sometimes it's all about self-discipline. And self-discipline is something that's real big in mine. You know, even with me being in the gym, it's hard for me now to get off the schedule that I go to the gym to work out in. Right. Because while I've been so much self-discipline on that time, that's the time that I go on a daily basis. Another one would be with confidence. Okay. You know, learning self-confidence. You know, pretty much not allowing things to get to you. You know, believing in yourself. You know, we all say, yeah, we have a support team, but if you don't believe in yourself and what you're trying to do, it's not going to happen. Because you can have all the support in the world, but you're the one actually physically doing it. Right. And say, you know, self-discipline, confidence. And I mean, I guess you could say self-love goes along with confidence. You got to love yourself. You got to love what you're wanting to do and where you're trying to go with it. the direction is not always going to be the right direction because there's going to be some stumps there and there. But hey, that's a part of life. But I mean, as long as you know the direction you want to go with what you're trying to do, at some point in time in life, you're going to get there.
Right.
And I mean, I would say that was one thing, you know, just, you know, self-love, you know, self-confidence, and just having self-belief in what you're doing.
Yeah. That's basically it.
Yeah. On me, hey, Shad and Burshaud Williams, man. That's what it is. So,
can we just get nail down the name, what you do, and like where they can find you at?
You can find me on a social media site. My Instagram is ShadTX20. Of course, that came from the nickname. Facebook, Burshaud Williams. I ain't too good on the Twitter stuff, so I don't mess with the Twitter, but it's usually just mostly Facebook and Instagram. That was about it. What else?
What do you do? Occupation or?
Occupation right now, I've been blessed to work with a great uprising company, Ballogy. Been the head coach the last 2 years at Alamo City Aztec. You know, we just recently built a sports management company. I mean, I've got my own training, play the score essay, something that I branched off of my older cousin, Brian Green. You know, he started the clothing line, play the score. And when I got to San Antonio, you know, I kind of made my own name in the basketball world and helped a lot of different programs in San Antonio. And a lot of people were trying to tell me to kind of step out and believe myself and do my own, you know, because I could do it.
Right.
Sometimes you don't realize how much you invest in other people. And other people do reap from your I mean, they do gain success through you sometime, and it's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
But at some point in time, it's time for you to branch away.
Right.
And that's what I did. I had a lot of people tell me, you know, you should think about it. And because I didn't want to burn any bridges, I never did it until I finally just kind of stepped up and said, you know what, I'm going to do it.
Right.
And that's when I kind of reached out to my cousin, and I just kind of branched off from him. I said, hey, man, you know, would you ever, you know, think about me having like play the score essay, you know, because I'm in San Antonio. He started from here, but he moved, and he was all for it. And like he said, that's why I built it, you know, for my family, you know, to grow off of, and that's what I'm doing with it.
Yeah.